MKB, Michael Kaskey-Blomain from 97.3 ESPN.com covers the Sixers, and he is with us now as the Sixers have made a trade today. Free Ja, MKB. Free Ja. He is freed to Brooklyn.
He is. Finally, it's about time we can, all sides can move forward. Ja can, get on with his career, and Sixers fans can stop asking when he is going to be traded.
So, are you satisfied with the return? I mean, they get a veteran whose deal expires at the end of the year. They give up Stauskas in the deal as well, plus a draft choice. So, fair deal, don't like the deal, just happy that there's no more Okafor questions. Your reaction?
Yeah, I think overall my first reaction was pretty much just happiness that the situation was resolved for both sides. The deal didn't really move the needle for me in either direction. I think Booker will be kind of valuable for the team in the short term, and that he can contribute as a forward off the bench or as potentially a trade piece come the trade deadline. And he'll be off the books this summer, so it doesn't affect them cap space-wise moving forward. It's just unfortunate that it got to the point in Okafor's value that they basically had to give away, a second-round pick rather than getting another pick in return.
Obviously, Okafor was a good soldier. I mean, he kept his mouth shut. He voiced that he did want to be traded, but he was not a problem. In the end, did the Sixers do this kid wrong? I mean, did they not give him enough of an opportunity? I mean, as a rookie, the guy averaged 17 points. We know his defensive limitations. And then last year he was hurt. Didn't really play as much. But did they not give him an opportunity this year? Did you feel that he should have been in the rotation this year?
Mike, coming into the season, I did think that he would get a little bit of an opportunity, more so than he did. Obviously we all saw him losing 20 pounds, switching vegan to a vegan diet, making an effort to just put himself in a better position. But, I think when it comes down to it, Brett knows best of Brett Brown. I've trusted his decisions. If he just didn't see Okafor as a player that could be out on a team this year that had actual expectations and that was going to be looking to win, if after training camp, after practices, if he assessed the roster and said, what, Amir gives us a better chance to win, he did what was best for the team. It was unfortunate. Ja was a rough fit with this team from the day he was drafted. Just depth-wise and the other players on the team. So, I'm not going to necessarily say they did him wrong, especially now since they gave him the opportunity to move on. If they had held him, throughout this season and didn't play him, the story might be different. There's still a large chunk of this season now for him to go out to a team that he'll play on and, get an opportunity to show his stuff. So I think it's it's unfortunate the way it turned out, but, not every draft pick is going to be a hit, and I think that's that's really going to be the taking lesson from this whole situation.
Okay, so they get Booker back. He's a forward, 6'8", kind of a veteran player. Does that say that they're not thrilled with Amir Johnson and Rashawn Holmes? What kind of role do you foresee for Booker?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see, Mike, because he does kind of have redundancies to, what Amir or Rashawn would do. You'd be interested to see how Brett would use him. It seems clear that the team valued him, too, specifically if they were, they could have cut ties with Ja and or Nick and not given up a second-round pick. The second-round pick was clearly to, entice the Nets here to part ways with Booker. So there's obviously, a plan for him to be used somewhere down the line. It'll be interesting to see where he comes in that rotation. As it is, Rashawn Holmes is not getting, very many minutes, not as many minutes as I would have expected him to be getting at this time. We'll see, how that impacts it. You would think that he would probably end up being, maybe the third big off the bench, but if he leapfrogs one of those guys in practice, he could end up seeing, a good chunk of minutes per game. We're talking 18 to 24, something like that, depending on, how the rotation shakes out.
MKB, you know how this works. A deal gets made, and instantly social media likes to pick out a winner and a loser. Who do you say won or lost this just on your instant gut feeling?
I mean, I would say that the Sixers probably lost. Anytime you have to give up two players that were drafted as lottery picks within the past 3 years and add a future draft pick just to get an expiring contract of a 30-year-old, veteran forward, it's probably not going to be perceived greatly, and that it's kind of the result of, the team, frankly, just waiting too long to make a move on Okafor. They kind of watched his market value steadily plummet since the first time we were talking about potentially trading him after his rookie year. At this point, the market had just soured on him to that point that, the Sixers fans, they should feel okay about this, considering that Nick and Ja were both, not contributing and weren't going to be future pieces. But, the Nets took, very little other than parting ways with Booker. They, get two young guys that still have maybe some potential and upside in the league if they get the right opportunity.
Spending some time with Michael Kaskey-Blomain to find out about Jahlil Okafor, that trade, a reported trade going through for Trevor Booker coming back, and Nick Stauskas, and a second-round draft pick as well, Sixers and Lakers tonight. Do you see Ja succeeding in Brooklyn and Sixers fans going back, and then the typical Philly reaction of, well, why didn't we play him?
That's a great question, Pete, and pretty accurate when it comes to Philly fans. If any place Ja could succeed in the league, I do think that Brooklyn will give him a pretty good opportunity. It's obviously a team that's sort of in a rebuilding mode of its own without a whole lot of young building blocks to move forward with. They've started like some different veterans at center. I think he'll get an opportunity and to show if he can really play. I don't think at this point he'll ever be the all-star that maybe some had thought he would be when he was drafted with that third pick in 2015. But could he still, develop into a serviceable role player that could come in and give you some points off the bench? Absolutely, and I think Brooklyn would be a great place for him to do that. I don't think it will get to the point, considering, the aspirations and how good this team looks right now. The Sixers team, I don't think it'll get to the point that we're looking back and saying, man, maybe we shouldn't have traded Ja, but I do think that he can certainly have a productive career with the Nets.
All right, Sixers-Lakers tonight, 8 o'clock here on 97.3 ESPN. Michael Kaskey-Blomain at The Real Mike KB on Twitter. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.